Have you ever wondered if there's a magic number in personal finance, like a single achievable goal that could just fundamentally change how you feel about money? Well, it turns out a huge research paper from Vanguard might have just found it. In this explainer, we are going to break down their incredible findings on the real-world power of having an emergency fund. But okay, before we get to the solution, let's start with a feeling I think a lot of us know way too well: financial stress. It's not just a feeling in your gut, right? It has a real measurable cost. So what exactly is that price? For a surprising number of households, the tipping point into a full-blown financial crisis is, well, it's pretty small. We're talking about just $400. An unexpected bill for that amount is literally enough to send a family's finances into a total spiral. And look, this is not some tiny niche problem. The Federal Reserve's own data shows that more than a third of American households are basically walking a financial tightrope. For them, one unexpected car repair, one surprise medical bill, that's all it takes to fall. So, if a $400 emergency is the problem, what's the solution? This is where the data from Vanguard gets really, really interesting. Vanguard went out and surveyed over 12,000 people to figure out what actually moves the needle on our financial health. And they weren't just looking for little connections here and there. No, they were hunting for the single most powerful factor. And guess what? They found it. Okay, so before we get to the big reveal, we need to be clear on what they were even measuring. This is the official definition of financial well-being. It's not just about being rich, right? It's about security, about being able to pay your bills and having the freedom to actually enjoy your life. So what was it? What was the single strongest predictor of that feeling of well-being? It wasn't having a massive income or saving up months and months of expenses. As you can see right at the top of this chart, just having at least $2,000 in savings gave people a massive 21% boost. I mean, look at that. That is a way bigger jump than you get from earning over $500,000 a year. This right here is probably the most mind-blowing finding in the entire study. The emotional boost, that feeling of security you get from having just $2,000 in the bank, is actually bigger than the boost you get from having over $1 million in assets. Just let that sink in for a second. An achievable little safety net can give you the same peace of mind as being a millionaire. It's incredible. Okay, so we've seen the unbelievable upside. Now let's flip the coin and look at the other side, the real data-backed costs of not having that safety net, and how that stress just ripples through every part of our lives. First up, let's talk about time. The study found that people with zero emergency savings spend on average 7.3 hours every single week just thinking about, worrying about, and dealing with their finances. But what about for those with that $2,000 cushion? It drops to just 3.7 hours. That's nearly half. You literally buy back hours and hours of your life. And hey, don't just take my word for it. Vanguard themselves put it perfectly. They said it's associated with a smaller mental burden. See, this isn't just about managing your schedule. It's about freeing up all that mental and emotional space that was being taken over by worry. And that mental burden, it follows us to work. This chart is wild. It shows the hours per week that employees are distracted by money stress. For those with savings, it's about an hour and a half. For those without, a staggering 6.1 hours. That is not a small difference. It means people without a safety net are 4 times more distracted at their jobs. Let's just put that in perspective for a minute. 6.1 hours a week. That adds up to over 300 hours of lost productivity every single year for just one employee. Suddenly, this isn't just a personal problem, is it? It's a massive business problem. So all that data is like a snapshot in time. But what happens over the course of a whole year? Does all that stress get better or does it get worse? Well, for those with no emergency savings, the trend is pretty clear, and frankly, it's concerning. A majority, 51%, said their financial stress actually got worse over the past year. It's like a downward cycle that just keeps getting harder to escape. Now, look at the difference here. For those with that $2,000 buffer,
only 15% saw their stress increase. This shows that the savings don't just help you in one crisis. They act like a continuous shield, protecting you from that rising tide of financial anxiety year after year.
So we've seen the personal impact, the mental burden, the lost productivity at work. Now let's zoom out and talk about what these powerful findings mean for all of us, not just as individuals, but for employers and even for policymakers too. Okay, so what do we do with all this information? Well, for individuals, it's actually really empowering. A $2,000 goal isn't some crazy dream. It's an achievable first step that can dramatically improve your life right now. For employers, the business case is crystal clear. With over 300 hours of productivity on the line per employee, helping your team build savings is a super high return investment. And finally, for policymakers, this data really suggests that some recent laws might not go far enough. The evidence points so strongly to that $2,000 mark as the real key to well-being.
At the end of the day, this data isn't just a bunch of numbers on a page, it's a roadmap. It shows that a profound sense of financial security isn't some far-off dream that's only for the super wealthy. It's accessible, it's achievable, and it all starts with a surprisingly small number. So the final question really is for you. What's your first step?